All right, cool. Say cheese, everybody. That's the link right there. Let me send it in.
Azamat, where did you get this project from?
Oh, it was in the curriculum for instructors, and
Oh,
helped.
yeah,
But I just created the starter code for you guys, so that we won't be dealing any the CSS part. Okay, but in the scriptures we don't have anything, but in index HTML we have some code that we can start and see. Of course, nothing is working for now, right? Also, our form is refreshing the whole page automatically. And random mill doesn't work, of course, because we don't have any JavaScript scripts. Cool. This is working code. So let's see how it works. So random mill, if I click random mill, it's independent of this form right here. Random mill button is completely dependent by itself. It's not it's independent by itself. It's not dependent to this form. Okay. When I click this random mill, I will get you guys did the random user thing, right? Oh, random user me. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's something like that. Okay, so when you click the button, it will regenerate another user, something like that. But it's a similar thing for this meal. When we click button, it will regenerate a new meal for us. Okay. Also, if I type, for instance, egg, click enter, or just click this button right here, both of them will work with the forms, right? It will list out some meals for us. Okay. So please check out this GitHub and clone it. So list of meals after typing search term, for instance, egg, will list out some meals. And if I click any meal listed in the list of meals, will display selected meal info at the bottom, right? So if I click any meal right here, it will list the information about that meal at the bottom. Okay, and then random meal button, click it, as I was saying, it just generates random meal from API. Random meal, it will get random meal from an API, and we'll just try to display it in the UI. That's it.
Azamat, right? Yeah, just have a question. When you click random mail, this information shows in the same page, right? In the main page.
In the same page, yes. We'll just in DOM, right? In DOM, in order to show some pages, we'll just
We have only one page, right?
What?
We have only one page in.
We have only one page, yes. So we have only one page right here. When we display single meal, this guy right here, right? When we say egg, okay, it's not working right now. So if I comment this one out, right, uncomment out like this, it's gonna show like this.
Yeah, I see.
So if I bring it back, comment out, clicking the random meal, it will show exact same thing. Okay.
Yeah,
And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is different. So I mean, the one thing I don't know how to do that. For example, if we will open any other website, like some shop website, when I click some button, okay, I have a like Adidas website. I clicked like shoes, and I can see other page, in the same вкладка сверху.
Yes.
So, but it's absolutely different page with absolutely different header, bottom, everything is different. So how to do that? Because when we do something, we always use like so small window, but in the same page. You remember for input, like when we try to put new cart, but the last project, the small window opened with form. But
yes. Modal. Yes.
How to open the new page by
Well,
clicking.
with the DOM projects, we have to do a little more tweaking to achieve that the view, right? A different page, but in the same page. But later on, when we go to the React, we will try to achieve that with the router. Okay, so it's definitely done with the routers. It can be done in DOM.js, but we don't want to spend on time on that.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
this time you guys will be dealing with frameworks, okay? React or Angular or Vue.js, whatever it is. You guys will be working on those kind of applications, not DOM.js, right? But in terms of displaying different pages in the same page, it comes to the router.
Okay, Azamat, it's enough. I just when I want to create some project, I don't know how to do it. Like no ideas, absolutely. So okay.
Yes, yep. The life will be so much easy when you guys start seeing React applications. It is so much cool. We don't have to deal a lot of BS stuff that we are dealing in DOM.js, right? But yeah, it's gonna be really cool and really easy to deal with the DOM HTML elements in the React applications. All right, so these guys right here are added from API endpoint. As soon as we get the data, we'll just try to shovel it into the UI. All right, get the starter code and we can start now. What we can do here is basically 3 clicks, right? So first one is random mule. Second one is when we type something and we click enter or click this button. The third one is when we click individual items to display a single mule at the bottom. Okay, so everything is brought down here. We have submit, which is for the form itself, ID submit. Okay, so what we have here, submit that at event listener, and we have submit. Okay, so instead of callback function down here, we just create search meal function. Okay, right here, we'll just type function search meal, and that contains event. Okay, the first thing we need to do what? E dot
Okay.
for prevent default. E dot prevent default. All right, when I type something and I click enter, it's not going to refresh the whole page. Let me get the random too. Just double click random at event listener. For this one, it's going to be click, of course. That's the button. And we'll say get random meal. Same thing for this one. Get random meal. It depends on what we would like to use the event in click buttons. So in terms of API, I put down here, right? So just click this guy right here. Let's check it out. The meal database. And if you guys can see right here, click API. It will tell you guys what needs to be done for each query. Okay, so the things that we need is, for instance, for random meal right here. Okay, there's no we're not providing any ID, we're not providing any query prompts, etc. We're just running a get method and just querying trying to fetch data from this URL. Okay, when I say this one right here, every time I refresh it, it will provide a different meal. Right, it's an object, and inside the object we have meals, and meals head is an array of just a single object. Okay, so no, not this one. Right over here at the bottom, as you guys can see, ingredients. Now, this ingredients was the combination of, for instance, if you see olive oil and 4 tablespoons, right? It's like in the random meal, we have STR ingredient 1, right? That's the first part right here, olive oil, for instance, and corresponding measure STR measure 1. Basically, we're just concatenating these strings. Mars bar, okay, space or dash 6 chopped. What do we have? It's dash, yeah, dash 6 chopped, for instance, something like that. Okay, so what else do we have? This is for PayPal supporters. If you'd like to support this guy, send some money, right? List all meals by categories. We are not dealing with those type of thing. And then search meal by name right here. That's our search query, right? If I type egg, it will search all the meals that has egg. This is the query string that we're going to be providing when we click submit button. Okay, so what else? We had the random and one second, guys, 1 second. Where's the all right, cool. Where were we? All right, cool. So also look up for full meal details by ID. We can also provide the ID to this URL to get the that is very helpful when we click any meal. For instance, if I click this guy right here, I will run a on-click event, right? I will run a function and provide the ID to that function, and from there I will fetch this API endpoint and provide the ID to the URL, and it will provide me the meal. And as soon as I get the meal, I will just shovel it in the UI at the bottom of the screen. Sounds simple, easy? All right, I guess that's yes. Cool. Cool. How about we do the random meal, right? Right over here inside our function, what we can do here is that we are getting the get the random meal. We're not going to be dealing with event, okay? So we do have meals element, which is this guy right here that we are putting everything inside. Questions? All right, I thought that was a question. Cool. So we have ID meals, we have ID result heading. And the cool thing about this is that if data exists when it searches, right, it will display search result for D. If data doesn't exist, and it will say there are no search results, like this. There are no search results. And somehow we still have these guys displayed, but we'll figure that out. All right, let's get back. What we can do here, random meal, okay? We can say meals element that, of course, inner HTML. We need to reset it first. Okay, we need to get rid of the list of meals first, and in order to get random meal. That's the first thing we will do. clear meals and heading. We also have heading that I was saying, right? This result heading. We should get rid of that message too. Result heading inner HTML is equal to empty string. And now we can fetch our data using URL. So random URL was this guy right here. Of course, it has to be inside double quotes. And then we have res, which we need to convert this JSON into regular object that we can deal with. And we have a data right over here. And if I say console.log data, we'll see the data. Also, let's just try to catch some errors, see if we see any errors. Cool. So inspect. Let's bring this guy to down and open up the console. Remove this guy. Okay, random mule. I clicked it and it's returning an object. And inside the object, we have meals. It's an array. And inside the meals, we have another object. That's the object of the meal. Right, so right over here, we have data. So we can deal with this data, say constant meal. Let's get the inner object right here. Let's get this object. We have data, that meal, it's actually meals, right? And then we can select the 0. And we are grabbing this object.
I'm sorry, quick question before we go further. Where
Yes.
where did we get the URL for the fetch?
So if you check the starter code, we have this guy right here.
Oh, it's from the thumbnail. Okay.
Yes, the meal, the meal that the meal database.com. And if you go there, click API, and
Mhm.
right here you will see random. Look
Okay.
at still random meal.
Okay. Thank you.
This is gonna be what we are looking for, and this is what we are gonna be looking. Also, this is the first one. These three URLs we will be dealing with in this project.
All right. Okay. Thank you. That makes sense.
Sure. Cool. So since we get the, all right, since we get the meal, right, let's create a function that we can add this meal to DOM, right? So what we need to add this into DOM is basically we're going to need this single meal. This whole thing, we need to add this whole thing. Right? When we edit, it will pop up in the UI. But before we edit, as you guys can see right here, these are the LIs. Now, we'll generate these LIs with the help of for loop, and then we'll just put it inside, okay? So let me grab this guy. Oops. Come down here. And right over here, instead of putting the whole thing over here, I would like to create another function that will add this meal to DOM. Okay, let's just call it add meal to DOM. And we'll provide this meal to this function. Okay, so right over here, we can just generate a function called add meal to DOM. and we are getting this meal. It's an object. Okay, it's an object. And we got the single meal element right here. Okay, so you can just say single meal element that inner HTML is equal to like this. All right, but right now it's everything is hard coded. If I click random meal, it will populate in the UI, but everything is hard coded. Even though I click one more time, it will every time I click it, it will generate the same meal. All right, cool. So when we get the random meal, it has instructions right here. All right, so basically what we can do over here is structure it. So what do we need here? str meal. Let me get random. Where is it? Get this guy right here. All right, cool. So what we need over here is this guy right here, right? That's the name. That's str meal. And we got it already. str meal. Str meal dump, which is for our image. Okay. Not sure if we there's instructions too. I mean, I think we can also it's gonna be additional functionality to include a YouTube video, right? And then people can watch the instructions on YouTube. str source. All right, so str category. So the categories are listed as over here, right? If it's a chicken, if it's a chicken, it's a chicken. If it's a veggie, vegetarian, etc. And of course, instructions. So what we can do here, just bring these guys over here. str meal. Let's get this guy over here. str instructions. Make it shorter. Right, so, and also this we will generate right at the top. Okay. str meal dump. For alternative, we can also put just str meal itself.
Excuse me, Azamat, can you share the main link, please? I have found, but it doesn't work.
Do you want to share your screen?
No, I mean the link, the main link that we use to get the data.
Uh,
Random meals.
This guy right here?
Yeah,
Did you click this one?
yeah. I have
Okay.
found, but I think I have tipped something
Yeah, I
wrong.
think it's not working too because I tried to open it up, then the links are not working. Wait,
Where are you guys trying to reach from?
What do you mean?
Are you guys overseas? Like, where are you guys trying to reach? Maybe that's the region problem. I'm assuming, but
Oh, okay.
everybody in the US will be able to reach. Where?
Germany.
Germany. Probably that might be the problem. But can you try the URL that the Jill is back shared in Zoom chat? I mean, if the main URL doesn't work, I assume that this API that PHP would definitely not work.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, interesting. What other ways that we can try to okay, anyway. Yeah, sorry about that. You guys can reach.
Elzada, but you're in the United States, right?
it worked. Yeah,
Oh, it
I
worked.
tried
Okay.
the one that you sent it.
It's working now?
Kind of, I guess, kind of.
You do?
It is working. It is. I guess I just needed to like push it further, but yeah.
Oh, there's probably the time lag, probably. It might be the issue too. Yeah. All right, cool. So
Before we go further, could you please scroll a little bit up because I was copying the code and I didn't have enough time to do it. Thank
yeah.
you.
So how about we push the latest code? Git remote -p. I don't want to push to this remote, so I can just remove this origin first. One second. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I just removed it. How about you know what? Just copy this guy. Repositories, click new. Complete public. All right, we can push it. Cool. So can just copy this guy right here. Git remote at origin. Okay, origin has been changed. So now, of course, I need to git add. New changes. Git push. Of course, this is the first time I'm pushing to this GitHub repo. Right, git push the issue origin main. Yeah, I could have just write initial commit, but that's fine. Yeah, I don't want to touch the starter code. This is gonna be new URL. Okay, so it's on the Zoom chat. Please take a look, and the latest code is there. All right, let's keep on going. So right over here, we're trying to display the category, as I was saying, right? And we're assuming that some of the categories might be empty string, so we can just apply a ternary operator here. All right, so what we can do here, if str category exists, it's not an empty string. All right, so just put a paragraph. With str category. If it's not there, then just put empty string. Actually, we don't need this paragraph, right? Because we are already inside the paragraph. Of course, we need to put these curly strings. I think what we could do is bring this guy like this and remove these guys. Can we? Maybe not. All right, cool. So Filipino is where the area is. Okay, so we need to get this area too. We structure it right over here. And the same thing goes for that one too. Okay, basically, remove this guy. And if I say str area, if str area exists, then put the str area. If it's not, then empty string. As you guys can see, vegetarian, French, run the meal again, dessert, British, run the meal again, pork, Japanese. So it is working fine. But do I have these ingredients? The ingredients are hard-coded right now. So what can I do with the ingredients, guys? How can I generate the ingredients? Well, I have two options to do that. Okay, so first option would be right over here. We're still inside the function. It's just my printer is making this function look like this, right? But let's just create it. Let ingredients empty string. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is grab all of these ingredients, okay, and put it right over here like this. Okay, and then put the ingredients over here. Right, run the meal, and it should be exact same thing. But how do I generate this like this? I don't want to hard code it. I would like to grab these guys right here based on what? The data that we have. So basically the first part, as I was saying earlier, was str ingredient 1. And the second one after the dash is the measurement, the str measure 1. Okay, so as I was telling you guys, we can, let me bring this down and comment this one out for now. Okay, ingredients, let's just keep it as empty string for now initially, and as we generate these guys, we'll just concatenate with this string. All right, concatenate with this string. So I would like to run a for loop that we need to start from 1 because str, I mean, it doesn't have to start from 1, but let's just start from 1 because we'd like to assume that when we put str ingredient 1, we'd like to put I as a 1. Okay, and then I less than equal to, since how many ingredients do I have? 20, right? For all the meals, it is always 20. Okay, it is up to you guys. You can work out to find the length based on these str ingredient of this object. It's up to you guys. You can find it. If there is a str ingredient 21, 22, then finding the length, a logic that you can create, a function, whatever, finding the length and then show it over here would make sense. But we are just relying on this API endpoint to say that there is only 20 ingredients. All right, so we can just hard code it for now. And then I plus plus. Right. Also, as you guys can tell, some of the ingredients are empty string, so we would like to avoid those empty strings. What we can do here is just simple if statement. Okay, and then we can say if meal right over here, we're trying to reach out dynamically because meal is an object and we're trying to reach to this guy right here. str. So now the last one is we can consider as our index. So right over here, $i. Okay, meal. If this one is not empty, if it does exist like this, if it is not empty, then what we can do? Ingredients is equal to ingredients plus this li. Okay, this li. Basically, this li contains str okay, it's str ingredient I, also dash. This part contains str measure. Str measure instead of 1, we'll just put I. Okay, so now our ingredient at the end of the for loop right here, our ingredient became something like this. Do you guys agree?
Right now, I only cannot understand what you are looping because on for loop we put like I is going to be equal 1 and I is going to be equal to 20, which means like it's going to iterate these numbers from 1 to 20.
Yes.
But where are we getting data? What we're passing? What we're looping?
Oh, I think you missed that part. So right here we're fetching, right? When we click the random, we're fetching the data, and we're running this add meal to DOM function, and we're passing meal.
Okay, and can you show me where is this
Let's
meal?
start from the beginning. Okay, so we're doing the random meal right now button. Okay, when I click random meal, that is when I add event listener, click event, and I'm running this get random meal function. And this function is basically trying to fetch the data, right? I'm running this function, and this function is over here. So before I run this function, inside this function, I'm resetting our meals element, also result heading, and I'm fetching it. Now, when I fetch it, right? When I fetch it, I get the data of something like this, right? Something like this. So it's an object. The first one is an object. Now it contains meals, right? So this is the data. This object is the data. This right here, data. And I'm trying to reach out to what? The property meals. I'm reaching out to the property meals, and the item in 0 index. There's only one object. That is our meal. That object is our meal. This is our meal. And I'm grabbing that meal and passing to this add meal to DOM function. Now, what this add meal to DOM function meal does is receives this meal, right? Basically, we're destructuring it and grabbing multiple items from that destructuring, okay? And then we're just putting it inside our UI. Now, single meal element in HTML is this guy right here. When we put this div, it will populate in the UI. So inside this inner HTML, we're just placing every single data that we get from API. Okay, every single data that we get from API, but we need to do some modification to avoid this type of manual inputs. Right? So that is this UL part. Instead of putting this manual everything, okay, everything inside like this, we're trying to make sure that we run a for loop instead of putting it manually. What if there's hundreds of them or thousands of them? You're gonna put every single one of them like that? No. It makes sense to put a for loop to generate these ingredients. And this is the for loop that we are generating the ingredients. Now, is it confusing, this for loop part?
No, it's absolutely clear, but I mean, I can understand when we have some array of these ingredients, we can for loop it and create a li for each, which is like simple. But right here, what I cannot understand that for example, our ingredients right now is gonna be like
initially it's empty string.
I mean, you are reassigning these ingredients every time. So every time it's gonna be like ingredients plus list. So is it not gonna be only one list each time, every time?
No,
So
in my first round, right? In my first round, I'm saying, okay, initially it was what? Empty string, right? Right here. So I'm grabbing it and I'm pasting this whatever the li. Okay, this is my first round.
oh yeah, I see. It's gonna be plus equal. Oh yeah, yeah.
Basically, ingredients becomes what? This guy right here, right? Initially, but it's a string. In my second round, next to it right over here, I'm just doing plus. Now in my second round, what am I doing here? Now it's gonna be plus another li. All right, so let me just do index is equal to 0, index 1. It will continue like this.
Mm-hmm. Can you run it, please? Is it gonna be like this?
Right, so yeah, and then in the second one, it's gonna be like this plus the new one, right? So what do you want me to run? You want me to run the console.log over here, ingredients? Console.log.
No. I mean, is it gonna show us all these ingredients?
Is not defined. Where we have problem here. Script 48. 48 meal. Meal is not defined. Oh, okay. So it is saying that
I mean, that was my question. If we have, for example, data meal, and then we can like for loop this meal, but right now we're inside of our function and we have, yes.
yeah, so looks like for this one, but wait a minute. STR ingredients. Yeah, we gotta have this meal attached to this one. Okay, so we cannot destructure it right over here because we need the meal over here. Okay, initially empty string plus the first one. Okay, and in the second one, this one plus this one is just two of them, and it will just increase, and at the end we have something like this. And now when you put these ingredients over here, of course, it's going to show like that. But let's see where we are doing. Oh, okay. So instead of
Wasn't it meals?
No, I mean, when we are for looping, that was my first question. If you remember, like when I asked, when we are for running for loop
Mhm.
and we are looping, what we are looping? We're looping from 1 to 20. Okay.
Yeah, we are looping 1 to 20, as I told you guys. This we have only 20 ingredients only for single meal. That's why I put 20 as a hard-coded manual. Okay, hard-coded. Okay, so I made a mistake over here. Instead of str ingredient $I, we should have put first a meal. And inside str measure.
Marat, my question is why we are putting this str ingredients as a string inside the backtick.
So here's the thing, guys. I do have a meal, right? This guy right here. Let me just
Yeah, I got it. I got that meal. But that's
the meal. But we're trying to reach out to this one right here. How do I reach out? Dynamically. The first option would be, right? The first option would be, let me open up the console. The first option would be just do meal dot str ingredient 1, right? The second option would be, what's my second option? Add meal, and right over here, str1, close it out. Well, it's gonna be string. Okay, it has to be string. This is, we're trying to reach out to the key property value dynamically instead of directly, because the thing that is changing is this number. Based on this number, because we are looping through it, and we are trying to apply this I index every time it changes. It's not an index, it's just a number, because index start from 0, right? And then we're trying to put this I over there. Now, before we put that, we have to put into backtick, and then right over here.
Yeah, I got that part. Yeah. But is it going to get the data, or it's just gonna print out just string as ingredient?
It will print out the value. Well, when you do this one, what's gonna print out it?
Yeah, can you console log just to see?
So looks like we have some issue right here. Is that taking this I? Maybe. What are we missing here? All right, let's console log this. Yep, it is working fine now.
Okay, yep. Good.
Okay, if I click it again, there's going to be more ingredients. And it's working fine. Any questions?
No, now it's clear.
Cool. All right.
I mean, I think it's clear for me and for Kai. What about the other guys? Because I see it's not simple, you know? I mean, you need the time to think about it to understand what's going on here. So guys, feel free to say if you have questions because it's really complicated.
You think it's complicated, really?
No, I mean, to understand just right away. No, now it's clear, okay.
Yeah, imagine this one, right? When we have students, the project that we did last time, and we had the main container, and we were basically we are generating a single student and putting inside single meal element, basically putting inside this UL. But this is single user, and we're running for loop.
Azamat, just one thing that I can't ask in English. So this backtick, right? Can we go with you? Is it backtick?
Backtick?
Yeah,
If
it's backticks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a backtick.
What I really don't understand. What if you will use backtick only for index? Only for index, not for ACR ingredients also. Okay.
No, because as you remember from JavaScript, right? Let A is equal to, for instance, let's say put 20, okay? And then let B is equal to, we cannot just do like this. You're trying to say, okay, A, and then put the backtick over here and $, for instance, A, Apple.
They will be separate.
Wonderful.
Gonna look like this. It will accept this one as a string.
Oh, really?
But yeah, but when we do this one, instead of backtick over here and backtick outside of removing the double quotes like this, now we're saying that, okay, concatenate this string with this variable, but with the $, curly braces. And now B is gonna be Apple 20. Same thing what we are doing over here, okay, meal, and we're trying to do this one with the backtick. Now, so this inner backtick is for be able to use this $I, and this outer backtick is for the, in order to use this.
Yeah.
I also get confused, Azamat, because I think it's our first time seeing this, the key using as a string. So yeah, because we used to use just eyes as an index. Yeah. To put this number inside the key, yeah, it was kind of confusing, but yeah, I got the idea.
Yeah, it's why it's confusing, because it's kind of it's actually it's only one string, but the last part, the number is dynamic. Only last part, only number is dynamic. So that's why it's like yeah, we first time seeing this. That's why it's a little confusing, but yeah, it's clear.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, I apologize for that. What which we were trying to make it we're trying to make to reach to these values dynamically. That's why we have to use the curly braces for this object. Okay, but if you didn't have any if you didn't have an option, I mean, if you would like to reach out to these like this, we could have done that. Okay, str ingredient 1 and str measure 1. But the thing about this is that what is changing now? If you run this one for 20 times, we will get only str ingredient 1. The thing is changing is the last number. Okay, the last number is changing. So we'd like to use the dynamic reaching to the key value of the object. Okay, so in order to do that, we can just grab this guy, right, and then put it inside string like this. This is the exact same thing as reaching out meal.str ingredient 1. But also, still, what is changing right here? 1. Now, how do I make sure that this is dynamically changed? Now, the only thing that as you guys can remember from this one, right? Concatenation. I'll just convert this double quotes into string literal, the template literals. It's really hard to say for me. All right, so grab this guy, remove this double quotes, and put backtick, and put this str ingredient 1. So now 1 can be dynamically, right? If I say like, let's say I do have a name, I can put like this, dynamically, right? Assuming that there is a variable called name.
Azamat, so in this case, is it possible to concatenate outside of the quotes, for example, first string ingredient plus that I is here or not?
Of course, why not? So what we can do here, we can do constant string in ingredient is equal
We can
to.
do concatenate inside this, right? Inside this, so square brackets.
Yeah, so what we can do here, like this, str ingredient plus just I. Okay, and then instead of this square bracket, what we can do here, put string ingredient. It should be exact same thing. As you guys can see, eggplants, it's exact same thing. String ingredient, same thing for string measure. Okay, and then remove this as str measure. Will display the same thing.
Okay, yep, it's good there, thank you.
All right, you guys want to take a break?
Yep.
Yeah.
10 minutes break. Let me push the latest changes. Instead of git push -u anymore, we just git push. Cool. One second, guys. All right, cool. So what we can also do here, right? Grab this guy and say constant single ingredient is equal to, put this one in there. And then at the end right here, we're going to say plus equal to single ingredient. All the trick there. Are we good here, guys?
Yeah.
I think what we can do here, bring this guy up, maybe up to, and then this one right here, put string ingredient. Okay. We'll do the same thing. Cool. We do have another option to generate the whole thing. Okay. That one is, let me comment this one out. Cannot put it into a single thing. Okay. Yeah, I hope you guys would not confuse. Let me just type right over here. Right, we have a meal and we have a object destruction over here. For this one, the second option, we're going to use an array. Okay, so initially we used string, that was first option. Now for this one, we're going to use array. But of course, we're going to use the same for loop. Let I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 20, and I plus plus. All right, so let me just copy these guys over here, because we're going to be needing inside over here. We have a string ingredient, we have string measurement. Right, so if same process, if meal string ingredient exists, what we can do, ingredients that push ingredients that push statement. Where is our statement? This guy right here. Actually, we need the whole thing. Yeah, we need the whole thing. Okay, I'm pushing this guy, li. All right, so at the end of the year, at the end of the for loop, how it's gonna look, our ingredients. Our ingredients will look, it's an array and bunch of strings, and this, but the strings are li's. All of them are li's, like this. All right. All of them look like this. If I click it again, we'll have different li's. Everything looks good. Now, how can I bring them back? Like, how can I combine this array of strings into one string? How can I combine this array of strings into one string?
Join.
Yes, exactly. So as soon as we, once we push it, right, we can join them and then we can put it into ingredients over here. So at the end, right here, we have array of strings. And when it comes down here, maybe constant joined ingredients or string ingredients, all of them ingredients that join. And now string version looks like this, very long, li next to each other. Of course, it's by default, it's what? By comma. So we have to eliminate the comma. Just put empty string. And now li, it finishes right here. The next li starts, finishes right here, etc. So we can put this guy, bring it over here, and put it as string ingredients. Right? If I click random meal, now string ingredients are over here. That's the second option. Let me do this. That one was for the first option. Maybe I should bring this whole thing down as a second option. And this one is for the second option. The first option, we were just using ingredients, right? Where's my ingredients? This guy. Right over here, ingredients. And the second option, we're collecting all the li's into one array, and then we're just joining them to create a single string, and then putting that string into UL. Any questions here?
Oh. No
Cool.
question.
Great. All right, cool. So I think we're done with random. We're done with random meal. So for that, we can just get the random meal, close it out, hit meal to DOM, close it out. Now let's deal with function search meal, because the data will be generated when we search something, right? This is X, eggplant, something like this. Now, same thing. We're going to be doing the same thing. Single meal element in HTML, just to reset. Clear single meal content. And what else we should do? We should just get the search term, right? And for that, we have search, get element by ID, and we have search input. Okay. Console.log.
Azamat,
Yes.
I can understand the first 6 lines. You use only one const for all of them.
We can do that, yes. For if you have a comma, you can do that, right? For instance, let A, comma B, but of course, all of the, if you would like to assign something, right? B is equal to Apple, you can do that.
Okay, it's cool.
Yep. C is equal to 100. All of them will have the data. It goes for let const var for all of them. If you'd like to put const for all of them, it's up to you. That's fine too. Okay, so there was the 2 ways to reach out to the values of input inside the form element. The first one is just directly grabbing the search input from document, okay? Or reach out to the IDs based on the ID. So inputs have IDs, or the child elements inside the form will have IDs, right? IDs. Let's say if this button has an ID, you could have just reached out to that button too. But since we have ID of search for this input, we can do e.target.search.value. But since we got the search value over here, we can just use that search value. Okay, so what we can do here, constant query, search query string. Let's just keep it shorter. Query string, search value. Now, right over here, we can just trim it right away to remove white spaces on the left and right. Okay, and right after that, we can say if else. If query string, then do the logic. Then fetch the data. Okay, then fetch the data. Otherwise, I can just console log it or alert. Then an alert. Alert. Please enter a search string. Search text. Are we good up until now?
Yeah, but
Cool.
one thing. Why do we need to use inside of if? Because we give just 1 second.
Well, we've been doing this all the time, right? Based on the search query. If you type something, then it makes sense to type something when there's a text.
When we type, he gonna fetch.
There's no text, yes. If there's no text, then something. But if there's a text, then we
Oh
do.
yeah, I forgot. I thought we used key up instead of submit. Yeah, I confused. It's just submit, not key up.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're just submitting it. Yep. It's either click enter or click this button.
Yeah. If it was key up, we could just fetch it outside of if, right? Because every time when we type something, he kind
Yes.
of okay.
Cool. So query string. If we have a query string, then fetch the data. Now, as I was saying, when we query string, we were providing this guy right here. Right? This is our URL. And this part, so the query string is provided dynamically, so we have to put this one inside what? Backticks. Backticks. This is our search query and a dollar query string. Then same process. Get random meal. Let me grab these guys over here. All right, rest.json, then data, and of course we're not getting any meal at this point. Let's see what we get. Console.log data. Now, of course, if I type empty string 2 and click enter, please enter search text. If I type egg, now we have meals. As you guys can see, it's an array and it contains 8 meals based on our search query string.
Is he comparing with name? What key he used for compare?
Sorry.
What should data include? I mean, is it? Can you show data, please? Data just.
Sure. Yeah.
API, yes, it's strmil. With what key he is comparing the value to find the exact data.
It's just putting the search string right here. Okay, if I put eggplant, it's gonna return something else for me. Okay, for eggplant, we don't have 8 in our in the array. We have 5 only. Okay, if you put fish, this is our search string. If I type fish and click enter, it will search the contents of fish.
And this fish not inside of some key, it's just in outside of everything.
This query string we're providing at the end of this URL API endpoint.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
And based on that, it will return us the data. And the data, the meal that contains this query string.
Okay.
As in,
By the design.
ingredients, or it could be also the name of meal.
Can you say that again, please?
Query string is it means that it contains ingredients, or it could be also as a name.
No, it's just not ingredients, the meal. Okay, the meal.
name of-
So, yeah, so I believe it's based on the tags. For instance, fish, pie, breakfast, baking. If you type something like this, I think if I type baking, maybe I will get the same result. There is no meals. Okay, there is no baking. So keep in mind this one too, right? Meals sometimes returns null, and based on this data, we can display. All right, we can display. If there's no data, we would like to display something like this. There are no search results. Try again, and this is inside our result heading. Right? Oh no. Yeah, so the baking, there is no baking. Fish, there is some data for fish, etc. So we're getting the data. So inside, as soon as we get the data, let me just do this one. As soon as we get the data, now we can do if statement here again. Or we had what function for adding meal to DOM? We can generate add meals to DOM. Is it going to be confusing for you guys?
No. Meals.
Yeah, add meals and add meal, right? So, and then we can provide the data over here. Now, right over here, function add meals to DOM. And we get the data. Let's just type it as meals. Let's just type it as data.meals. Okay, and right over here we have meals because the data contains what? The data is object, and inside object we have meals, and we are sending this meals array as an argument to our function, right? Data.meals, and we get the meals over here. So right over here we can check if, now as you guys can remember, right? If there's nothing in there, it was returning null. Okay, based on that, if meals, right? If meals, if it does exist, or we can put specific thing, if it equals to null, now we have result heading dot inner HTML. Okay, result heading dot inner HTML is equal to where's my this guy right here? Copy and paste it right over here. There are no search results. Try again. Of course, I need to put it into. Let me put it into H2. Put inside and H2. Okay, so do this one. There are no search results. Try again. If there is meals, then my H2 will change to what? To type egg. Search results for egg. Okay, so this is gonna be changing to search results for egg. Of course, egg. It's not the egg hard coded. We have to change it to what? Query string. All right. So if I type egg, query string is not defined because maybe we should have passed down the query string to query string. Query string. Search results for egg. Search results for apple. Now, most of the time, this is the only thing we need for the UI to display when meals is null. Other than that, we will be working on else part. I would like to use the same logic as we did right here. Now, add meal to DOM, right? So for this one, for the second option, we used the for loop. We used for loop, okay? So what we can do here is utilizing from the same logic, guys, utilizing from the same logic, I need to grab this guy right here, div, single div, and that div is, it contains this right here, meals and single meal. All right. So instead of using for loop, I would like to use map. And map does the same thing. Okay, you guys can still apply the same logic with the map for other for loops. You can convert this regular for loop into higher order function. Now, what do we have? Where do we display the ID meals? We display our every single meal inside meals, and we have meals element right here. Okay, meals element. So right over here, we say meals element that in HTML is equal to meals dot map. Now, what does map do? Who can tell me?
It
It will return, yes. Speak up, guys, come on. It will return a new array. So we have meal. Okay, so we have meal, and we can say constant single meal is equal to okay, single meal. And now we can return this single meal. Return single meal. But before we return it, how about we do some object destructuring? Maybe I can just grab the thing that we have destructured over here, copy it, close it out, and bring it over here. It didn't make any change. Just keep it as is it is. Okay, cool. So we have this guy right here, which is $str meal thumb, and we can use the meal name str meal as alternative for the image. And then for the H3, it's going to be just str meal. All right, cool. So my map is starting over here, right? I cannot put the array into inner HTML. I have to do what? At the end of the map, we have an array of these guys right here, right? String as a string, lots of them. An array of a bunch of divs, basically. Okay. Etc. Like that. So now at the end of the map, I can just join together. Right? I can join them together. So I need to just copy this guy right here and then put it at the end of the map. Is this my map right here? Yes. Join. Well, I guess I don't need these instructions, etc. We can just remove these guys. So if I search for egg, now I have something in the UI. Is this clear, guys?
Yes.
Cool. Great. So I guess since we are not using this meal, we can just destructure this right here for each. Oops, Control Z, Control C. Okay, just in case this one is commented out. As you guys can see, my search term is not reset it back. So what can I do? So clear single, that's me. Okay, so I do have search at the end of the for loop right here. After I assign into inner HTML, I can just clear search in. Okay, and then just search that value empty string. So if I say fish, I do get the result, and my search input is reset it. Any questions? I hope it's getting clear. Okay, so how about clicking it? Right, we're not done yet, right? When I click this guy, nothing is happening. But in the finish it, completed project, we have click it, and now we see a detailed information about that meal at the bottom. Now this is exact same thing as we are clicking this random meal, because we are displaying the same result inside single meal. Okay, random meal, beef and mustard pie. If I type something, if it's not there, there are no search results. So I guess if it's not there, maybe right over here, do you guys agree? Right over here, we are forgetting to reset our meals element dot inner HTML. The placement doesn't matter. Okay, so if I say fish, I get something, but if I type something, click enter, there are no search results. I think we're good. All right, cool. So I think we're done with our search meal, add meals to DOM, but we're not done with add meals to DOM yet. Okay, we're done with this submit, but of course we're not done over here. So what can we do here? Now, we are not using any type module, so we should be good. Okay, we should be good. When I say we should be good, I'm trying to say that we can add an on-click function when we are adding this meal information. Okay, so right over here, I'd like to add on-click event. I can type it, of course. Get meal by ID. All right. So since we didn't get the meal ID, let me check the meal ID. ID meal. Okay. In this destructor, this ID meal, and then we can pass down this ID meal to our function. Now, do I have this get meal by ID? No. Let us create this function. Function get meal by ID. Meal ID. Console.log meal ID. All right, that's the idea of this guy. This guy is different. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. So based on this, I can run another query to my API endpoint. to do what? Based on ID right here, right? So this is my URL, and I will run fetch and provide the meal ID at the end. Okay, right over here. So let me do this one and then comment this one out for now. And I would like to grab this fetch thing. Right, so it's gonna be this URL over here. But of course, we need to put inside backtick because we need to provide the meal ID. Okay, so $meal ID, res.json, and console.log. Get meal by ID. Egg, click this guy, meals. It always returning an object. Okay. And then meals is an array. So now at this point, it's going to be exactly the same thing as get random meal. All right. So this part right here is exactly the same thing. Now you guys can tell something right here, right? We can put this one into a one function. Okay. And then run that function based on the provided URL. If it's random, run the random, and then apply some ternary operator. Okay, so if I say egg, so let me just remove this guy. And if I click this guy, now I'm able to see my selected meal. Click, it's changing. Now if I click random meal, what is random meal is doing? It's resetting, clearing meals and heading inner HTML. Okay, random meal and displaying and random meal. Put out function fetch data, and we'll provide the fetch data. And right over here, you can provide fetch data with meal ID. Okay, and the same thing goes for right over here. But of course, we need to make sure that we have constant random URL is equal to this one. Oops. Constant search URL is equal to this guy. And then fetch data, and we can just remove this guy over here. Fetch data. Like that. Now, for this one, we don't have to provide anything, but for this one, we have to provide the meal ID. Now I'm thinking based on constant query URL or this type request URL is equal to, we can apply ternary operator, right? So what we can do here now, fetch data, maybe ID. For fetch data, if you provide the ID, there will be there. If you don't provide the ID, by default, it's what? The value of ID. If you don't provide, are you guys here?
Undefined?
Yes, exactly. It's going to be undefined. So right over here, we're going to use request URL, right? But we need to decide which one we're trying to request. So request URL based on the ID. This is my phone. So if the ID exists, then what we are using? Search URL plus ID. Okay, search URL plus ID. We're just providing the ID at the end. If it doesn't exist, then what we are using? Random URL. Now we have a single function for both instances. Now if I can click random meal, it's providing me a random meal every time I click it. Now if I click egg, it's providing me the list of meals. And if I click this one, now it's all working fine. Any questions? Cool. New changes get pushed. And that is the completed version for our.
Oh, did you finish this project, Azamat? Sorry, I just missed last 20 minutes. Did you finish?
Yes, it's done.
Oh, okay. I will check later.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's my bad. Thank you.
Okay, so how about we take a 5 minutes break, and after the break, I want you guys to get the same code, right? But instead of dealing with .then promise chaining, I want you guys work on creating a new file. Let's just call it API calls.js and create some sort of API calls for the ones that we did, right? For instance, fetch this one right here, and then you guys need to return it so that you can use this data in this file, right? So just keep in mind, since you guys will be exporting and importing out of functions out of this file, you need to add type module right over here, right? Also, at the same time, for each meals to dump. Yes, for each on-click we guys need to do, grab this function and then type window dot get meal by ID is equal to get meal by ID. You think you guys can do that?
Yeah, we did it in the previous project, I think.
Yeah, cool. It's gonna be.
What was the project? I didn't save that. So do we need to do it like in our own or in group?
In group, yeah.
Okay, after 5 minutes, yes.
After 5 minutes, yes. So we have 9 people, probably like 3 each. So 3 groups. Cool, let's take a break.
Are you gonna push all these changes?
I did, but I didn't push the
Oh.
API file yet. So it's gonna be push. Yep,
Thank you.
absolutely. Okay, so are you guys back? I hope you guys are back. So let me close out these guys. You guys already know how to deal with those data. So I'd like to go over a couple concepts just to make sure you guys understand those concepts. Who can tell me what's the difference between rest and spread operators? Anyone? What's the difference?
I remember spread does a shallow copy of array.
Okay.
But test is going to, I don't remember rest. Yeah, I think.
Who else?
Rest is like plus chest or what? I just
All right, let's start from the definition. Rest.
rest is
the-
plus, I remember just plus.
All right, so the rest, it says the rest parameter syntax allows a function to accept an indefinite, that's the key word, indefinite number of arguments as an array, providing a way to represent whatever it is, periodic functions in JavaScript. Okay, let's try to see it in example with this definition. So let's say that we have a function. Let's say function at the numbers, okay? And when we call this function, of course, we need to call to the console log. Let's say add numbers and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for instance, okay? And now when we are getting the parameters, number 1, and number 2, number 3, and number 4, let's just give it this 4. All right, this function returns n1 plus n2 plus n3 plus n4. As a result, it's a 10. Okay, this is a typical way that we deal with parameters and arguments. But what if your function, right, accepts hundreds of parameters? Do we have to type it everything like n1, n4, n5, n6, n100? It's insane amount of parameters, right? So instead of that, we can utilize with the REST operator in JavaScript. So what REST does is the REST parameter syntax allows a function, this function, to accept an indefinite number of arguments as an array. Right? The simple representation of this one is, instead of typing every single one of them, is just put 3 dots and do nums. Okay, and do nums. So now we can say let sum equal to 0 for constant item of nums, right? Before I do that, if I console log this nums, it will basically convert these arguments, every single argument, into an array. So nums is an array, right? Nums is an array. It doesn't matter how many arguments you provide, it will convert those all together in a single array. So now we can apply some logic to get the sum of these items. Okay, so basically sum is equal to item, and at the end of the thing we return sum, and we get the result. All right, so there is a short way, as you guys can tell from here. What? You just return nums dot reduce, and we have accumulator and current item of function accumulator plus current item will return exact same thing. Right? So
We don't need initial value for accumulator in like 0.
We definitely need, but yes, sometimes it accepts it as 0 by default, but yeah, we can definitely put the initial value. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, don't forget to put the initial value, guys. Right? So always put it there. All right, cool. So the good thing about this,
So yeah, as we learned, by default, it's gonna take the first value of array if there is no initial value.
the first value of the array, which is what, 0?
So no one.
Well,
Okay.
Initial value in case there is no
current. Okay.
initial value.
Cool. So some details about this REST operator is that if we can separate these values, these arguments. Okay, let's just, if I do like this, x, y, and I can also do nums. Okay, I can also do nums. Basically, what it means is that x represents to 1, y corresponds with the 2, and the remaining nums is basically array of 3 and 4. Array of 3 and 4. So the nums is equal to array of 3 and 4. Right? When you do this one right here, whatever you put over here, doesn't matter how many numbers you put, these will be combined into a single array.
And can we continue after this operator? Other later after nums? Again, divide by other letters.
Yeah, but we cannot do that. So the thing
really?
about REST is that REST parameter need to be the last parameter.
Yeah, it's logical. Yeah.
Yeah, if I do this one right here, x, y, z, right? So it's gonna complain now.
Yeah, he doesn't know
REST
which one.
parameter wants to last in parameter list. So we cannot do that. So unlike this the spread operator, we cannot put REST operator in the middle or in the beginning. Cannot do that.
Yeah.
Let's just put in the beginning. It will complain about that nums. Okay.
Yeah.
Rest parameter must be last formal parameter.
But in case if we have arguments not a number, but for example strings, and we are using rest operator, so can we just use that strings maybe strings just right away, right? We don't have to like, I mean, system is already gonna know all our arguments, right?
Yes. So as long as you put the nums at the end, right, either by itself or at the end, it will recognize from the starting point. So in this case right here, when we did XYZ, right, initially, of course, this one is allowed. Right, so it will grab whatever we type after the second parameter, so second argument, right? The first and two argument are corresponds to xy, and the remaining arguments are the nums. It will be combined into a single array.
In this case, Azamat, can we use arguments, or what's going to be difference between arguments and rest?
Yes, so definitely we can use arguments. So maybe some other people don't know. Let's say it's the same function. Let's work on the same function. Right? Let's say so if you don't put anything right here, guys, if you don't put anything right here, so in JavaScript, we still have a thing called arguments, and it is built in JavaScript. All right. So if I say console, so if I say return arguments, okay, you don't have to define this argument. It's built in, it's there. Okay, arguments.length. And if I run it, it will provide 6 because I have what? 6 items in my provided as an argument. Okay, so if I type console.log arguments, it is an object. The type of the argument is an object, right? Which means that, sorry, it's an argument. Type of arguments is an object. Which means that it may sound like an array, okay? Because we're getting the length, right? It may sound like an array, but we cannot apply any of the array higher order functions. We cannot run any higher order functions on these arguments.length. What we can do here, right? What we can do here, we can convert constant array is equal to this object, which is arguments, and get the values. What I'm trying to say is that let's try to get the values of this. What we can do, console.log table. All right, console.log table arguments. If I say console.log table, we close this one out, refresh. Now, indexes are just a regular index, but the values are what we are providing as an argument over here. So for that, I can just grab object.values, as you guys know, right? Object.values and object.keys for objects, and I can say arguments. And from here, I can get the maybe return just the length, right? That length, or get the sum of the values, just like we did with the reduce over here. Okay, the length is 6. It's still 6. Now, as I was saying, arguments in JavaScript is a special, it's like an array, but it's an object that is available within the body of every function. Okay, within the body of every function that is being passed arguments. If you pass arguments, then that arguments will be available. Okay, so as I was saying, it's not a real array, but it behaves similarly, just like an array, because we are getting the length. Also, guys, also we can reach to the items just like an array. Okay, we can reach to the items just like an array. In this case, it will return 1. Okay, it will return 1. Let me just remove this console log. Now it will return 1 just like an array based on the index 2. Okay, as you guys know, when we do table, it will display the index and the values. What's wrong with this? Right, index. So it's acting like an array, but it's not an array. It's an object actually. So, but here's the thing. The documentation actually says that we should not use the arguments starting from ES6, right? Instead of that, they are recommended to use REST operator, just like we did nums, and just try to deal with write the code inside the function.
Azamat, can we also use this? I don't remember this operator for arguments, return dot arguments. I think he will return an array, right, with these elements, this number.
Return. Well, you can do. Put
Just
this one inside.
it was object, and it should become an array, I think.
You can return like this.
Okay. And we can use any high ordered function, right?
Now you can, yes. Now you can. You can
Argument.
definitely use for each or map, whatever you want, because we converted these arguments into an array using the thread operator.
He can convert anything, even Boolean, to an array.
Say that again, please.
I mean, if instead of numbers will be like Boolean and other things.
Over here?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
will.
you can put anything.
And it will become an array, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
true. You can put anything, object. So it will definitely return an array.
So Azamat, now, when we have, for example, string, if I wanna, for example, console log that apple,
Yes.
should I get it by index, or I can just type like apple as an argument? I don't know, and it's gonna print it out, or should I like get some I don't know, nums on index on last index, or how can I get this apple? For example, I wanna console log this apple. How can I do that? How can I reach to apple?
To reach to the apple.
It's last item in array, right? It's just.
I think it's a good idea to convert to an array and manipulate it.
One.
Yeah, so basically we have an array right here, right? And
Yeah.
then I do another one. So it's gonna be let me just open this one up. Okay, so array length -1 will return apple. Because this way we're grabbing the last index. And now we're displaying the apple. arguments.
Azamat, is it rest operator is used only as a in the function arguments, right? Only that place.
No, no. We can also use something like this, guys. So let's say constant fruits is equal to, you know what? Let me deal with the numbers, okay? Fruits, I need to type a lot of fruits, but numbers, we don't have to type numbers. Okay, so right now, in destructuring, we can also use rest operator. Okay, so for this one, x, y, and then others is equal to numbers. Okay, so if I say console.log, so x, y, and others. Now xy corresponds to what? Now this basically we're putting like this, right? So x corresponds to 1, y corresponds to 2, and the remaining will be an array, right? And others. Okay, 1, 2, and others. Now this way, this way will be used a lot in when you guys do React projects, because some of the components, when you prop drilling, right? When you're passing some parameters down to the component, that component might need some of the data, but it may not need others. So it will just pass it down to the child components. Okay. If it uses all of them, then it will use numbers. But if only uses a limited amount of data, it can extract those data with array destructuring and then use that data, but others will be passed down to the child. This is another way. But of course, with this way, you cannot use rest just like we did in the beginning. Okay? Rest element must be last element. Any questions about rest?
Nope, no questions.
Cool. All right. I'm pretty sure you guys already know things about the spread, which we don't have to mention about the spread. So how about we start on that project? Oh wow, so a couple people joined back. I see that. Okay, breakout rooms, open all rooms, assign to room 1, stem room 1, hi. All right, please join the rooms. Rustam, are you here?